Starting lineups toward your way as we get along the first opening minutes of the Bob Baptista Invitational Final here from Joe Bean Stadium. Wheaton taking on nationally ranked Loras. Now, Loras has been nationally ranked in the soccer coaches poll as the 15th best team in the nation. We are underway. Wheaton took the kickoff. It's gone back and forth. Jason Lawler now has it in the middle. He's starting as a midfielder. Corey Weaver, his fellow midfielder, now drops it off for Mitchell Parr. Mitchell Parr keeps it in play.
Surprisingly,
and it's taken away by the Loras defense.
It was out. Right here, if you don't have the luxury of sitting in front of a TV, Loras and their extremely bright yellow jerseys, they kind of look like lightning bugs on a constant on, against Wheaton in their white jerseys moving from right to left, Loras moving the opposite direction.
Ryan Seeger starts in goal for the Thunder. And Corey Weaver, Adam Blackman, Dan Pavlak, and Matt Hussey are starters, along with Drew Goals and Colt Martin. Josh Clark, Jason Lawler, Mitchell Parr, and Chad Musgraves round out the starting lineup. It's identical to what we saw a night ago. And as far as positions along the forward, midfielding line, and defensing line, we'll get that your way soon as well. For Loras, Nate Dubois starts in the keeper position, the senior from Lamont, Illinois. Kyle Mockscore, Andrew Cosmopoulos, Camilo Garces, Malcolm Calbert, who had 3 goals scored. Calbert or Calbert, depending on how you pronounce it. He had a hat trick in yesterday's 4-0 dismantling of North Central for Loras.
I'm noticing some of the hometowns for some of these players right here. Camilo Garces, Cali, Colombia, not too far. Actually, it is kind of far from where I grew up. But we'll just see how this guy shows himself in this game.
A foul's been called on a header up in the air. And Loras will have a free kick just on the Wheaton side of the midfield stripe. Wheaton in their white uniforms with blue trim on the jerseys and blue shorts. There's the approach. It goes into the 18-yard box. Colt Martin gets ahead to it and heads it, clears it away for the moment. Now punched back in toward the middle by Brad Joyner and then cleared by the Wheaton defense. Ball takes a hop. Drew Goals has it, trying to keep it into the middle. He hits Josh Clark. Clark brings it into the circle. Dribbles out. Now passes along the left side to Mitchell Parr. Parr has a man on. It goes off Parr's foot and out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for the golden-clad Loras Dewhawks. Throwing it in is Mark Score. Mark Skurs gets it into Garces. Camillo tries to dribble in toward the middle. Had it knocked away. Pavlak clears to Lawler. Lawler surveys the scene and decides to drop back to Colt Martin. Martin dribbles along toward the right side. He's got Hussey behind him at sweeper if he needs him. Instead, he'll chip a long one up into the attacking third for the Thunder. Goes bouncing forth. Adam Blackman trying to slide tackle and get in front of that one. He does successfully, but it is out of bounds over the grandstand. It'll be a throw-in in the defensive half for Loras.
Now in these first 3 minutes, it's kind of hard to tell what sort of game this will be for both halves as it kind of wanes. It can go up and down. But already you can kind of tell the Dewhawks are a very different team than what we saw last night against the Scots. So I can already tell Wheaton right here is definitely going to have to beef it up here on the defense with Hussey playing up to the sweeper position. He's going to have to give a lot of support for his wingmen out here as they split the field up when they are on the offensive. So a very different team, a different game than it will be from yesterday.
Just about 3.5 minutes in. No score here from Joe Bean. Loras takes a free kick and hands it back to the Wheaton defensive half. Ryan Seeger out of his box, sets it up, booms one away, looking for Drew Goals. A solid clear away with the header. But Musgraves now controls, a little bit of room to work with. Now Corey Weaver puts it on his left foot, squirts it along to the left side. Mitchell Parr tried to keep it in play, was unable to do so. Goes out of bounds for a Loras throw.
Squirt that a little too hard. Good idea, though. Mitchell Parr not being able to make show for that space that Corey was looking for.
Back heel flick on into the air. Trying to control that was Pavlak. He was unable to do so. Goes out of bounds. Loras advances a little bit and brings it up. Kyle Marksors, now the 5'11 junior from Florissant, Missouri, will throw it in. He gets it in. Pavlak goes high into the air to head it away. Hussey now challenging. Gets it out of the 18-yard box with the right foot boom. Now controlling at his feet was Malcolm Calvert, the senior defender. Calvert is a senior defender, but he had 3 goals to his credit in yesterday's game. Handball has been called against Loras, so it'll be a free kick for the Thunder. Just on the Loras defensive half, the Loras side of the midfield stripe. Wheaton has been known to be very good out of these set plays, even from distance. Trying to get on the board first, as they did in the match last night, which was the lone goal. Here comes a boom, deep into the 18-yard box. And getting up to snag it out of the air is Nate Dubois.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, last night's game, we saw that first goal, the only goal in that game, coming from, I believe it was Adam Blackman, sending it to Musgraves, who was able to make the run across the side of the field and being able to make that shot into the right side of the goal.
Lawler trying to jockey for position now in the Wheaton defensive third. Now it's played in the back to Hussey. Hussey finds Martin on the right. Martin to Lawler. Trying to find position. Lawler follows up his own pass with another one going right side. Chasing after it is Clark. Slide tackle made. Kept in play to the Loras defense.
As we're seeing some fancy footwork here coming from the Dewhawks, as they definitely know their stuff, know how to handle themselves a lot better than we saw the Scots doing last night's game. A lot of individual talent, as they've pulled a couple of players from across the globe. Noticing a couple other players right here, we have one coming from Peru. A. Cosmopoulos coming from Lima, Peru. And also down here, not on the field, Tim Vandenberg coming from Nijmegen. Oh man, I have a friend here who could probably help me with the pronunciation of this town in Holland. So yeah, we've got some players coming from across the globe with this Dewhawk team.
Wheaton now has a free kick. After a foul is called, Matt Hussey will take it. Mitchell Barr gives to him. Hussey sets up, gets the right foot in toward the top of the box, headed high into the air. Loras defense is there, rather, with a header. Now Weaver trying to settle it at his feet. Almost getting called for a high kick. Now Loras has an opportunity. Streaking into the ball is Joyner. He's into the Wheaton defensive half. Joyner with the ball at his feet, gets around a man. Joyner still with it. Falling down is Pavlak, now played into the middle, and coming across is Blackman to clear it. Loras still now with a booming kick in toward the right corner and out of bounds. It'll be a goal kick, or a throw-in rather, on that side for the Thunder. No, they will give Seeger a goal kick. Can't tell from our vantage point exactly where it went, if it crossed the end line or the out of bounds line down there in the corner, but Seeger sets it up on the 6-yard box.
Yeah, it's true. We were given the commentary last night that the field was reoriented. However, they, I guess, didn't think to move the press box as well, and so we're stuck with this bad angle, and we can't see that one corner.
Oh, poor us.
Yeah, I know. They really should build us a new press box.
Ball goes back and forth. Pavlak to Clark. Clark to Power, who gets a hard slide tackle, and falling down is the man who gave that slide tackle is Cosmopoulos. Stumbling over my words there. Cosmopoulos.
Yeah, Cosmopoulos. You can call him Cosmo for short if you want to.
A little bit of extracurricular activity between Cosmopoulos and Parr. The referee comes over to blow his whistle, tells him to separate. Now Wheaton with the ball. Blackman tries to control. Gets away from a man. He does. Look at the freshman. He tries to get a pass over to himself. Slide tackle is poked away by the Loras defense. The head coach of the men's team is Dan Rothert. He's also the head coach of the women's program for the Dewhawks. And he runs 2 very successful programs in Dubuque, Iowa. But a very busy man during soccer season,
Oh, yeah,
I'm
definitely.
sure.
I think we could probably answer this question later on in the game. I don't know if you know the answer completely, but what exactly is a Dewhawk? I think I know the answer. I've heard it once before. I think we can discuss it later on.
Here comes the throw, and in toward the box. Drew Goals trying to head it to himself, but it gets mustered away. A lot of attention defensively been against Drew Goals. A loose ball in the middle, but for a couple seconds before it was scooped up by Dubois. Dubois, a long boot. Alongside is Donald St. George. St. George trying to keep it in play along that right side. Good defense on that left side. Now Mitchell Parr He brings it to Corey Weaver, and Wheaton looks for a counterattack. Weaver slow dribble up the middle. Now he goes left flank, near side to Mitchell Parr. Parr surveys the scene. He's still dribbling. Gets knocked to the turf hard by Cosmopoulos, and once again, we see Mitchell Parr getting in the midst of two physical plays already, and we're just 10 minutes into the first half.
Some pretty heated extracurricular activity, as you were talking about. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some yellow card action going on later on in this first half, as we have 35 minutes left to go. Score of 0-0 if you are just tuning in to WETN 88 FM.
Matt Hussey will take this free kick from the left side in the attacking half. Right foot gets into it. High ball up into the air. Headed away by the defense. Traveling in toward the corner. Blackman gives chase, but it's cleared by the Dewhawks first. And a nice one-touch goes on by Joyner. Joyner trying to clear it for Loras. Going up in the air with his hands is Lawler, and he draws the penalty foul. Nicely done by Jason Lawler.
That was a very long run given by both players, just going at it, both fighting very hard for the ball. You can definitely see why it wasn't hard for Lawler to receive that foul. When you're that desperate for the ball, it is very easy to see someone stick a foot out or an arm.
Colt Martin gets into this free kick. High. Goals tries to angle it with his shoulder. Weaver now. A left-footed little touch to Parr. Parr goes back to Weaver. Weaver sets up, punches one in toward the middle to Clark. Clark tried to go back to Weaver, but it got intercepted by Kevin Cavers. Cavers now drops left side. Joyner puts a left foot into it. Cosmopoulos, a nice touch up to the right side for his teammate Donald St. George. George tackled hard to the ground. Now here's Garces, high ball toward the middle, and Seeger spears it. Seeger booms it away. Goals trying to play it at his feet. Had it taken away, though. Kyle Marchkers now gives it out to the middle. Loras tries to build from back to front. Goals is doing a wonderful job of one-man pressure. His younger brother, Jordan, due to physical constraints, unable to start, but most likely able to play off the bench as he was able to last night. Now Cosmopoulos touches it behind him to Garces. Garces plays up to St. George. St. George trying to work around his man. That's Pavlak. Pavlak, very physical defense with an elbow into the back of St. George. St. George falls to the turf. A foul has been called against Dan Pavlak.
Now, it is very false to say that soccer is not a physical game right here. You can be physical as long as you don't move your arm in a position to get towards your advantage. And right there we saw Parr do exactly just that, sticking his elbow into the Dewhawk back.
Now we'll see how Loras is able to do at set plays as they take a free kick. Goals a one-man wall. High ball in toward the middle and trying to punch it in is Garces. He's unable to do it, though. Gets cleared away by the defense, and it will be a corner kick for the Dewhawks.
And the restrooms are available under the grandstand of the Stadium.
Trying to get a free kick in toward the middle. Garces got, all right, or that was Calbert, rather, going high into the air to try to head that ball in towards Seeger and the post. And now Loras, they'll have a throw-in, rather, not a corner. There's a ball punched in toward the middle, and Seeger lets it go away, and it evades the post by about a couple feet.
That's right. We've already seen, I think definitely this team is going to be a challenge for the Thunder in a good way, because already we can see the Thunder has had to work a lot more on their ball control, not just individually, but also as a team, learning to make the passes that count passes with a purpose.
That's exactly right. Passing with purpose will definitely be something Coach Giuliano will be stressing to his club for tonight's game and in games of the future.
And it kind of slides off the tongue, you know, passing with a purpose.
Exactly.
There's a linguistic
that's
term
half of it.
describing that.
Well done, Noah.
It helps stick into the brain, you know.
The free kick coming up for Loras here, just on the Wheaton side of the midfield stripe. So that was not a corner kick earlier in the contest. It was a throw,
which acts very much as a corner kick. You can treat those as a corner kick.
Here comes a free kick in toward the 18-yard box. Blackman heads it out nicely. Gets it to goals. Clark. Clark gives to Weaver. Mitchell Parr sprinting ahead of Weaver. Has a man that he could go to. Weaver will go to Parr on the left flank. A hard slide tackle comes up. Parr touched it and goes across the end line, and it will be a goal kick. Wonderful slide tackle. We've seen a lot of slide tackles early on in this match from Loras. That was Camilo Garces getting in front of Mitchell Parr. And with this wet turf, Noah, you can start sliding and then go for 10 feet before you meet the ball.
You're definitely going to be starting dirtying up your uniforms right here, especially on the near side of this field right here. Like you mentioned, Garces doing a lot of slide tackling, which is very risky as a defender, especially the closer you get in to the 18-yard box. You can draw a serious penalty foul, which can make you lose the advantage in the game.
Dubois, a long goal kick, falling to the turf for a couple players. Trying to get it away is Parr, but Cosmopoulos is right in front of it. It goes out of bounds for a Wheaton throw. Cosmopoulos has very much been pressuring Mitchell Parr early and often in this game. Parr has it along the near side touchline. Goes into the middle for Musgraves. First time we've called his name tonight. Cosmopoulos a back head flip. Hussey corrals it though. A right footer gets in toward the middle circle. Controlling it with a shoulder is Clark. Falling to the ground, trying to make play is Lawler. It gets away though. Very physical play. Falling to the turf. It's a foul called against Loras, however. And Wheaton will have a free kick just on their attacking side of the midfield stripe.
I have to admit, I missed that play right there, so I wasn't able to see how he did draw the foul.
Well, falling to the ground was Calbert.
That I did see.
Seemed to be appealing his case that he was the one that was being fouled. However, I do believe he was holding the jersey of Lawler
yes.
and physicaling him up a bit. Matt Hussey will take this free kick. Mitchell Parr directly behind him. The head referee asking for some separation of the players in the top right portion of the 18-yard box. Hussey ready to boom one in. Sets it in. High header away. Back in by Weaver. More volley by headers. Now Loras has it. Trying to settle it to St. George. He's got it. Passes it up alongside to his streaking Chris Comstock. Comstock leading the charge. Slide tackle into the goal. Or excuse me, over the end line. Not into the goal.
Running like a gazelle is Comstock. Stopped though by the sliding Wheaton Thunder defense. Like we were saying, that is definitely risky, but worth the effort of sliding into the player as long as you can hit the ball, not the shins of your opponent.
Especially as Comstock was going full sprint into the 18-yard box. It was dislodged cleanly. Now here comes the first corner of the evening for Loras Duhawks. Taking their time to set it up. Tough to see the number from back here who is taking this kick. Duhawks setting up, still no score. Here it is, high into the box. Header toward the goal. And it gets over. Just missed the right post.
Bit of a dangerous play right there.
It is
not
a bit of a dangerous
too far.
play.
Yeah, no, they've had a couple of stabs at the goal that have been proven very dangerous. Something that the Thunder is going to have to continue to contend with in the next 27 minutes of this first half.
Loras has definitely shown that they are able to get high into the air to win those headable balls. Foul called against Drew Goals for holding a jersey. He asks the referee if that's what he gets called for. He says yes it is. Goals consents to the call.
And if you remember from last night's game, I think it was Goals who received the first yellow card of the season. That could be something he'd have to watch out for as he continues on. The more you accumulate, especially within tournament, as soon as you get a red card, you are out for the rest of the tournament.
St. George trying to do something with it. The ball is around and out of bounds. In the Wheaton defensive third, it'll be a throw-in for the Thunder.
Right in our blind spot.
They'll toss it in, though. Hussey has it along the left side. Gets a right foot boot in toward Josh Clark. Clark on one-touch pass. Intercepted at the midfield stripe. Trying to get to Cosmopoulos. Unable to do so. Lawler trying to corral it, and falling to the turf was Kevin Cavers. Foul is called. It'll be another free kick for Loras. And Noah, early on in the first half of the first half, Loras has been having the offensive advantage.
And they're still continuing it on throughout this half. Wheaton's going to have to change the trajectory of their game if they're going to switch that dynamic, because they've had to be on the defensive this whole time. They've had a couple of chances at the goal, but they've all been from far out, which we've seen usually do not prove successful. So they're going to have to do something different for the rest of this game.
Cavers and Garces. do a little cat and mouse game with the Thunder. Cavers takes it, goes far and away, trying to punch it in toward the 6-yard box, and it scoots along the right side and out of bounds. Across that end line, it'll be another goal kick for Ryan Seeger. What do you think of that play, Noah, of Cavers and Garces going back and forth? Cavers approaching the ball, stepping over the ball. Garces approaching the ball, deciding not to approach it. And then Cavers coming back and kicking it through.
Oh, it is definitely sneaky. I think it's, you know, it's definitely a lot of fun to work with one of those like that.
Weaver trying to gain position. Falls to the turf, nothing called. We play on. Cosmopolis hands to St. George. George goes right side to Joyner. Joyner's been on the right side and the left side. He lost the ball and went out of bounds. It'll be a Thunder throw. Mitchell Parr will take it. Now Adam Blackman is now on this near side as well. Garces heads to throw an opportunity out of bounds. Blackman hands to Mitchell Parr. Joyner took it in front of Mitchell Parr and threw it behind his head when it was a Wheaton throw. And it went right over the referee, much to the chagrin of Parr.
If I'm not mistaken, I definitely heard some Spanish on that field coming between the Peruvian player Cosmopolis and the Colombian player Garces. Definitely some little inside communication going on, something that the Thunder will probably not be able to understand right there. But right now, Thunder foul drawn. We've got number 13 from the Dewhawks, Brad Joyner, just challenging the play.
Brad Joyner still mouthing to the official about why he was called for that foul. It'll be a free kick from about 30 yards out to be taken by Josh Clark. Pointing directions. Clark approaches. Gets a right foot, a low liner into it. A touch by Blackman. Musgraves trying to keep it in, unable to do so. Crosses the end line. Goal kick coming up for Nate Dubois. Definitely seems to be a little chippiness out there already between these two clubs. Loras, a very physical club, and not afraid to tell the referee what they think.
Definitely not. From the very beginning of the game, we saw a couple of players already showing some heat with a lot of the plays and with each other, too, as well. 23 minutes left to go in this first half. Score still of 0-0. Both teams locked in a tie at the moment, shooting and pressing for that first goal lead.
Goals now has it. That's true. Goals. Trying to head to Lawler. St. George slides in hard to dislodge it. Loras trying to get his streaking position over to the left side. A wonderful tackle made by Matt Hussey. It goes out of bounds. It will be a Loras throw on their defensive third of the field. Boy, a lot of slide tackles early. We've mentioned this once already, Noah. But
and that was
distance...
and that was a lawful slide right there. Those, like we said, it can be very risky, as they can be a very, obvious looking foul, but that one was all ball.
Nicely done by Matt Hussey. We'll see more of them. There comes a long pass and a kick. It crosses the end line, and Seeger will take it for a goal kick. There's been a couple plays that have been come close to the post in Ryan Seeger, especially on a corner kick that we saw about 10 minutes ago, but it went high and wide of the post, and no one has scored since then. Here might be a chance, though. Goals, a little ball in toward the box of Musgraves, and sneaking up into the air and taking it away from Musgraves is Dubois. And then a long throw, trying to hit St. George. It goes off St. George's foot, out of bounds. Coach Giuliano now running down the sideline, trying to yell out instructions to his team. Here's Adam Blackman, surrounded by a trio of defenders. It'll be a throw for Loras. And they're attacking half. Garces to take the throw. Goes into St. George. He dummies it on to Cosmopolis. And it rolls across the end line and out of bounds. Seeger will take another goal kick. Aggressive offense from Loras. Adam Blackman, the freshman, once he had that ball near the touchline, was quickly surrounded by 3 Dewhawks.
That was a lot of yellow into one space.
Sure was. Lawler settles one out his chest. Clark tried to keep possession of the ball, was able to do it. Goals trying to win it. Now Weaver does. Weaver to the left side, trying to set something up. A long shot in toward the middle, but it's cleared. Just outside the 6-yard box, Dubois picked it clean. Just over 21 minutes remaining first half. Alongside Noah Pickens, Judah Newby here with you. No score in the Bob Baptista Invitational Final. Second game of the year for both clubs. Ball's gone back and forth. Seeger corrals it. Bounces it a few times. Drop kicks one. Gets a lot of distance. Header won by Loras. Played on long back to their keeper, Dubois. A right-footed kick toward the right side. Musgraves has it. Now trying to utilize his speed. Splits the defense. A nice slide tackle made once again. This time it was Tom Cole. First time we mentioned Cole's name today. A beautiful ball played outside Joyner. Joyner has a man on. That's Mitchell Power. Joyner tries to scoot around Power. Power cuts him off. Still in the corner, the top right corner, looking to cross it in. Joyner goes right side, so lost the ball. Cross the end line. Wonderful defense from Power, and Seeger will have a goal kick.
Definitely implementing good defensive strategy right there, forcing the offensive into the corner so as to diffuse the attack and not allow them to center the ball into the middle of the box.
Garces now has the ball at his feet as Loras maintains possession. Played back here to Malcolm Calbert. Calbert goes back to Garces along the touchline, still in play. Wonderful one-man pressure from Drew Goals. He has what they call a non-stop motor. You might hear that a lot of times of NFL defensive linemen, more so than soccer players, but that well defines Drew Goals. Multi-talented athlete for Wheaton. Loras still maintains possession in their defensive half. Now they get it across the midfield stripe. Lawler giving chase. Slide tackles from behind, and it goes out of bounds for a Loras throw.
If you could see the field right now, you would see what we do, which is just a load of stripes just all over the turf. You can definitely evidence of lots of slide tackling in this game as the rain begins to fall ever so lightly on the game.
Loras now has possession. Their defensive half looking to push it up. Cole will just retreat back. Clark gives chase, but Dubois has the ball at his feet. Dubois plays right side. Coming up this right side is Dan Figueroa. Figueroa trying to hit a man. Taken, though, by Power. Power gave it back to St. George. St. George dislodged by Blackman well. Now Weaver has the ball. A nice touch to Goals. Settles it at his feet. He drops it to Hussey. Hussey, the sweeper, plays left side along the touchline toward Parr. Parr barely keeps it in along the touchline. It was in, although Loras thought it might have been out. Parr maybe a little bit too careful.
I actually did see that slide out off the touchline. It was it was something the referee did not see.
Josh Clark now with it, off the ball from Colt Martin. Colt Martin, he's across the midfield line. Now he plays into the middle for Musgraves. Musgraves trying to work around a man, is able to do so. Goals, a one-touch back to Musgraves, but it was dislodged among a trio of defenders for Loras. Ball is cleared away. Mitchell Parr giving chase, deciding to let it roll across the line. And our first substitutes of the game, Noah.
For the Thunder, number 23, Brendan Finnerty, freshman coming in, and number 11, Jordan Goltz, replacing number 3, Adam Blackman. Also coming out off the field, looks like will be number 15, Josh Clark. Brendan Finnerty showing himself to be a noteworthy player in last night's game.
Here comes Lawler. Was going to unload a long shot from about 45 yards out. It got deflected about 10 yards away by Loras defender. And now Loras, the Dewhawks, maintain control. Goes back and forth. Now Weaver has it for the Thunder. Weaver takes the middle. Gives to Lawler right side. Now they go to the right stripe. Trying to keep it in play is Musgraves. He steps over the ball nicely. He does. He goes into the right corner. Crosses one along the ground. Cleared away momentarily. Lawler with some space. A left-footed strike toward the goal. Dubois drops to his knees and makes the save.
Holding on to that ball for dear life, given that Lawler has an incredible shot from the left foot. I think we saw that left foot last night. Definitely coming out in tonight's game. Lots of fun to watch that. Not necessarily your most successful strategy for a goal, but definitely a lot of fun to watch.
Josh Clark pulled a similar shot with his left foot a night ago as well. Jordan Goals into the game, steps over a dribble. It goes out of bounds. Camilo Garces will take a throw in for Loras in their attacking half. Dan Pavlik is the man on, trying to keep St. George away from the ball. St. George trying to avoid the physical defense, unable to do so, but he still maintains possession on the near sideline. Now Pavlik got it away. Weaver has possession, trying to get around a man. Passes along the left side. Gets it to Finnerty. Finnerty, a left-footed strike in toward the goal box. And coming out to the top of the box is the keeper, Dubois, falling to the turf. Was a defender for the Loras Dewhawks. Was that Cosmopoulos? Nope, it looked like it was Malcolm Calbert. Drew Goals did nothing to affect Calbert's fault. However, Calbert was hoping for a foul call.
It was all body, all cuerpo, as you say in Spanish.
Garces now controls the ball. He gives to Cosmopoulos. Cosmopoulos streaking in toward the top of the 18-yard box. The defense is there, though. Musgraves touches it up to Lawler. Wheaton goes the other way, right to left as we see it from the cross box. Lawler crosses along the ground to Finnerty. Finnerty goes left foot, hits the left foot, go to Lawler again. Lawler streaks into the box, trying to get it along the middle. A wonderful ball, but no one was home. Cleared away and out of bounds by the Loras defense. It'll be a Wheaton throw.
Along with that Wheaton throw, we got two substitutions for the Thunder. Right here, number 18, Steven Russo. 19, Joey Lynn, who we have not seen so far in last night's game, coming in to replace number 4, Dan Pavlak, and number 10, Colt Martin, giving them some fresh legs for the rest of this first half. We also saw a substitution for the Dewhawks, Eric Berkowitz, coming in for the game.
High throw in now. Comes in toward the 6-yard box, headed away by the defense. High into the air goes Parr. He falls hard to the turf. And now a foul has been called against Drew Goals, trying to get the ball back in the attacking side for the Thunder. It will be a free kick for the Dewhawks. You mentioned substitutions earlier. Joey Lynn and Steven Russo coming in for Colt Martin and Dan Pavlak to give some new energy to the Wheaton defense, which has seen plenty of action from the offensive assertiveness of the Loras men. 14 minutes, 5 seconds, and counting down in the first half. No score in the final of the men's Bob Baptista Invitational. A couple of headers go back and forth. Hussey stays in the game as a defender. Heads it alongside. The train goes back behind us. A long right-footed shot from about 30 yards is knocked away by the congestion in the middle. Now a ball up the middle. Drew Goals heads it to himself, trying to streak away and keep possession of the ball. However, Calbert was there before Goals was. He knocked it out of bounds. Goals makes a lot of things happen with his sheer size and speed. Rare combination. Goals has them both. It'll be a Wheaton throw on the far side. Looks like Musgraves will take it. But one more substitution as the sophomore Kevin Skinker will enter the game for Coach Giuliano's squad. No score still. 13-15 and counting in the first half. He'll give Chad Musgraves a breather.
Also into the game, number 29, John Gildersleeve.
You could hear that. We also got another freshman replacement here on the field, John Gildersleeve, coming in for Jason Lawler. This is another player we have not seen so far this season either in the first game. So you got to wonder why Giuliano is making these switches for his players that he hasn't played yet. Given that the emotions and the tension is high in this game so far. We've got 12 minutes left in the first half. No goal so far, and Loras making more of a show on their offensive, on the Wheaton defensive side, giving them a run for their money.
Throw-in comes in toward the 18-yard box of the Thunder. Of Loras, rather. Thunder in their attacking half. Loras still with it. Now they're trying to build a counterattack. Met at the point, though, by Hussey, and he gets it to the freshman, or to the sophomore Skinker, rather. Played along the touchline, cleared by the Dewhawks. Back and forth across the midline it goes. A back heel flick was deflected off Russo and out of bounds for Loras throw.
You mentioned a lot of fancy footwork, back heel flicks and all of that. Coming from the Dewhawks, as we've noticed, they've got a lot of individual talent, and displaying it on the field. It's one thing to do it in practice, but it's another to actually execute it on the field in the height of the game.
They are very sound fundamentally, which allows them the ability to make such fancy footwork. Skinker controls. A touch goes back to Skinker. He was going to cut toward the middle, but Clark touched it right back to him. He wasn't ready for it. However, Weaver maintains position, that is. He gives to Gilderstein, who's into the game. It goes out of bounds. It'll be a Loras throw.
Substitution coming in for the Dewhawks. Number 21, Pat Langen. And number 3, Forrest Olson coming in for the defenseman, Camilo Garces, along with number 4, Kyle Markscourse. Probably giving them some fresh legs for the second half, as they'll probably be used for the majority of that period, as we only have 11 minutes left in this first half.
Jordan Goals, a header, back toward the midfield stripe. Drew Goals, his brother, corrals it. Goals trying to maintain possession. Gives it to pass along the touchline. Beautifully done. Skinker has it. Skinker trying to get in toward the box, but he was knocked away by Calbert and then cleared by the Loras defense. Russo legs one toward Weaver. Weaver works around a man. A long right-footed shot and a touch by the keeper Dubois as it sails wide of the goal.
Beautiful opportunity taken by Corey with that one right there. It looks like he was debating whether to run with the ball, as he could have done, as he was a little too far out of the 18-yard box, but he noticed he had the advantage and just fired away with the right kick. I think it kind of took the goalie by surprise, as he was expecting him to run with it into the box, but no, he didn't, and was able to get the shot off. Very dangerous for the Duhawks defensively.
Gilderstein and Weaver. Two-man pressure will come on this play from the Duhawks. They start in soon. Gilderstein trying to touch it to Weaver. Loras was able to knock that away. It goes out of bounds. It will be a throw-in for the Thunder. Defensive pressure now coming from the Duhawks. High throw goes in toward the middle. Jordan Goals trying to head it away. It gets knocked off him and across the end line. It will be a goal kick. That play, Noah, where you say the Duhawks able to dislodge the back and forth from the Thunder. Coach Giuliano was not pleased with that execution.
Yeah, I mean, it worked against the Scots last night's game, as they were able to use that play very effectively. The Scots only sending out one defender to block that little play, but this time the Duhawks caught on to that and sent out two of their defensemen to take care of it, and they did.
The coaching staff of the Duhawks very pleased with their defensive execution. Giuliano not as much on his offensive side, but good game planning from Loras. Now Loras trying to attack. The man in offside position, yes, I was going to say that he was.
Offside.
And it took a while for the call to come, but as it often does with those offsides calls, they give you just enough time to worry that it won't be called before they call it, and
just
everything
to get
is
your heart
settled.
racing, the adrenaline running, just in case the game's getting a little too boring.
That's
which
right.
It hasn't been tonight.
Not this one. Throw-in comes in deep. Goals flicks it on. Drew Goals now with it. Gets it to Jordan. 8.5 minutes and counting. No score from Joe Bean Stadium in the first half. Russo heads it away. The Duhawks try to make a one-touch. Goals trying to shoulder off his man. Jordan Goals works around two more. Physical play by Jordan Goals. He looks like he's doing all right, although he's ailing from a knee injury or ankle injury. Russo clears with the left foot to Skinker. Skinker looks at his options. Will drop to Joey Lynn. Hussey tried to find a man. That was Skinker. Drop back to Hussey. Hussey, the sweeper, works toward the right sideline. Still maintains. Goes along the ground with a pass to Drew Goals. Goals trying to make a pass around a man, but the Duhawks were there first. They still have possession. Now they try to clear it back in their defense. Calbert was there. Goals ran him off the ball. Duhawks still have the possession, though, as they try to get it across the midfield stripe. Now Gilderstein tries to dislodge it, does effectively. Now Skinker goes up, a potential handball, and no, handball was called. Perhaps correctly by the referee. They move it in toward the middle. Corey Weaver now going left side for Jordan Goals, but it's intercepted and played along the right side. Trying to keep it in play is Joyner. He does along the right hand touchline. He's met there by Mitchell Parr, the two. Now Joyner has the ball in toward the middle, and knocking it away was Russo at the top of the 18-yard box, and Seeger cleans it up without any further damage and boots it to the attacking side for the Thunder. Just under 7 minutes remaining, first half, no score. Hussey, a high header into the air. Joey Lynn tries to meet it. Loras, though, keeps possession. Now Lynn goes along the ground to Gilderstein. Gilderstein goes right side, tries to hit a pass along the right sideline to his tricking Skinker, but unable to hit him too far along this wet surface and with this artificial turf. When you get a little bit of rain, the ball will scoot faster than normal, way faster than normal at times, and so will the slide tackles that we've made reference to, and a couple substitutions for Loras, 17 and 12.
And as the rain abates, we have number 12, Louis Oswald, coming in for the Duhawks, as well as Johnny Rumelhart, giving some fresh legs for the last 6 minutes of this first half. If you're just joining us, this has been a very high-tension game between the Duhawks and the Wheaton Thunder.
Throw in for the Duhawks. Joey Lynn falls to the turf. Duhawks maintain possession. They're going left side. They have plenty of offense to work with, trying to dislodge the man from the ball. looked to be Skinker. It falls out of bounds. It'll be a throw-in for the Thunder. 2 more substitutions ready for the Dewhawks.
We got number 14, Sean Lewis, who has already been in this game, and number 21, Pat Langen. Substitution for the Thunder, freshman who we haven't seen this season in the first game, number 28, Jonah Park, all the way over from Seoul, South Korea, coming in for Drew Gols, who is our leading offenseman at the way front for the Thunder. He comes off for a breather in the last minutes of this half.
Still in the attacking half for Loras. Trying to be cleared away with a header. Here comes a ball toward the box. Hussey is there with a header, though. Joey Lynn trying to shoulder off his man. Lynn falls to the turf. Again, physical play. We're coming down to the right sideline. Ball is loose. Trying to clean it up, though, is Gilderstein. It goes out of bounds. It'll be a throw for Loras. Just under 5 minutes remaining. 1 more substitution now for the Dewhawks.
Number 23, Tim Vandenberg, all the way from Holland, coming on to the field, replacing number 20, Kevin Cavers.
Jonah Park, who's entered the game, debatably the fastest man on the roster for Coach Giuliano's squad, the freshman from Korea. Here comes a throw-in, high in toward the 18-yard box. Headed away, still at the top of the box. It's free for the moment. Pushed to the ground, no foul called. It's free in the 6-yard box and punched into the goal for Loras. Score for the Dewhawks. They lead it 1-0 with just under 4.5 to go in the first half. Looked to be a foul at the top of the box. Coach Giuliano expressing his case to the head referee. To no avail, Noah. That is just a very unfortunate goal.
Confusion in the box, I have to say. Who do we see? Number 11 for the Thunder, Jordan Goals, falling to the ground, not by his own accord, of course, but being pushed by the Dewhawks offensive. There was definitely a lot of yellow within that box and a lot of confusion, I would just said. And it's just one of those shots where they were able to get a foot on it in the mess of it all. Being able to get that ball into the goal. Ryan Seeger obviously just helpless as he's just surrounded. Something that you can't really attribute to the lack of Thunder defense. So this will be a very high strung for the Thunder as they look to finish the first half and finish the game up in the second half. Giuliano very upset right now, having a conversation with the head referee as he comes down to calm him down and to work it out.
Quite upset with the head referee. That's Kalof Alataifa, who was one of the referees of the women's game earlier. He's the head referee of tonight's game. Just under 4 minutes to go. Loras now with a 1-0 lead. Out of bounds it goes. That'll be a Loras throw. Instead, it's given to the Thunder. And the head referee gives it back to Loras. Correct call made there. The goal was made by Malcolm Calbert. He had a hat trick in the game yesterday. He scores a goal in his second game. It's his 4th goal of the season to give the Dewhawks a 1-0 lead. It was unassisted officially at the 40th minute mark. Now Finnerty touches one toward the middle. Hussey, the sweeper, has it now in the defensive third. Tries to play to Skinker right side. Skinker, chip along the right side. Chasing it down now is Lynn. Players crash to the turf. Jonah Park was one of them. Park trying to give ball on pressure. It's in the defensive third for Loras. Weaver now has the pressure. Loras still with possession. Joey Lynn trying to dislodge it. The Dewhawks now have a chance. There's a good pass toward the left side. Hussey there touches it away. Now it's still played in toward the middle. Trying to turn around and make a shot is number 19. And a foul has been called at the top of the box. It was pure ball. Giuliano hopping mad on the sideline. And another foul has been called. It will be a free kick. Just about 2 minutes, 43 seconds remaining in the first half, and a 1-0 lead already for Loras.
This game has got my blood going. I mean, right now you got like the Loras defense being able to set the ball out for their offense. Very good play on their part, but again, I am not so sure as to the validity of that call coming from the head ref. Definitely not the play that allowed them to score their first goal.
Here comes a free kick from about 20 yards out in toward the goal. Well left, though. Seeger lets it pass. 2.5 minutes and counting remaining first half. Loras has the lead, 1-0. Seeger, a goal kick. Goes right side. Chasing it down is Lynn. Trying to hit Gilderstein. The ball is played between 4 players and knocked into the attacking half for the Dewhawks. Chasing it down and deferring back to Seeger is the Wheaton defense. Now played to the right side to Hussey. Hussey gets around one-man pressure, plays toward the middle. Russo has a man on, goes back to Hussey, allows him to get a right foot boot. Down along that side is Jonah Park, goes up with a man, headed back into the Wheaton half. Now ahead a little touchdown to Finnerty. Finnerty gave it up. Weaver bumped off the ball. Loras maintains possession. No foul called. And it goes along the left side out of bounds. It will be a Thunder throw. 1:45 remaining in the Bob Baptista men's final of this invitational between Wheaton and Loras. Loras nationally ranked. The Wheaton men not nationally ranked in the coaches poll going into this weekend, the opening weekend of the season. Loras with possession. A wonderful slide tackle by Parr. However, didn't fully dislodge possession of the offender. Gets around Parr again. Tries to make a cross into the middle. Russo's there. Tries to clean it with the left foot. Unable to do so. Parr now gets it away with his right foot. His off foot. Still in the possession of the Dewhawks. They try to clear. Jordan Goals is one-man pressure. He dislodges the ball. Corey Weaver with it. Goes back to Goals. They cross the midfield line. Goals. He's got Finnerty on the left. And Jonah Park. He tries to get a ball in toward the goal box. Streaking and picking it up is Dubois as the 1-minute warning has been announced. Dubois taking a little bit of time at the top of the box. Now gives a long booming kick high into the Wheaton defensive third. It gets away with a back header flick, and Seeger scoops it up with 40 seconds remaining. Seeger gives an opposite kick. Coming into the Wheaton attacking third. Settling it at his feet is Weaver. Weaver touches to Finnerty. Finnerty surrounded by 3 golden-clad shirts. He knows to get it out. He does to Parr. Parr goes back in toward Weaver. Park now. Jonah settling the ball at his feet. Getting rid of it now to Gilderstein. Gilderstein back to Skinker, who touched it for Park. Park a little too much juice on that pass. 15 seconds and counting. It sailed over the end line. And that will do it probably for halftime.
9.
One more goal kick. Dubois will take it. You can hear the audible countdown from the public address announcer. Down to 2, 1, and 0. And that's going to do it. The first half in the books, Noah. My goodness. For the second match of the year, it definitely has your blood running at a high level as a very competitive game has panned out between the Loras Dewhawks and the Wheaton men.
Oh, yeah, you can say this game has juiced up in the last 10 minutes of the first half. And I'm really excited to see what they have in store for the second one coming up. The Dewhawks just foaming at the mouth, just looking for that goal. You know, they were hungry for it, and I'm a little disappointed to see that, you know, what we saw with that first goal was what showed for their effort, because I do feel as if there was some foul play in that box. But we'll leave that up to the referees. It definitely goes to show that Wheaton has met a little bit of their match, and the second half will show whether they can actually meet that standard that they're going to have to achieve. It has definitely pushed them to work a lot harder than they did their first game along with the Scots. They're going to have to work a lot harder on passing with a purpose, as we were talking earlier, and cleaning up the little messes here and there, you know, working on the ball control, not holding on to it for too long. You know, we see them work those drills where they're passing it with only 2 touches. Those drills are very instrumental in pushing them to get rid of the ball a lot more often and therefore not lose it to the offensive.
Halftime here at Joe Bean Stadium in the men's final of the Bob Baptista Invitational Tournament. Loras currently leads the Wheaton men 1-0. It'll be about 13 minutes, 40 seconds and counting before we'll get the second half underway. For now, for the halftime festivities, we'll send it back to the BGC basement and to the WETN studios where our man Wu-Hao Phelps is waiting. We'll see you back here in just over 10 minutes on WETN. Here is Wu-Hao Phelps.
The most